About a month or two ago, I made a video called "If the Best Players of Each Decade Pulled a Kevin Durant." And essentially, what that video was about is what the NBA would look like if other superstar players from years past did exactly what KD did, which was leave the team that just defeated him in the NBA playoffs and join that team in order to make an absolute powerhouse in that conference. It was really interesting to look through the decades and see how this would have gigantic ramifications on basketball history as we know it. The thing is, many people in my audience then requested that we do the same thing for LeBron James. Now let me make this clear. LeBron's decision and Kevin Durant's decision were not the exact same in nature. There was some similarities in the sense that both guys had just been eliminated from the playoffs and had left a less talented situation to join a far more significant one. What made LeBron's situation so unique is that he was one of three players signing on an organization while they were all in their late 20s in the prime of their careers. The Big Three Heat were immediately a super team who were extremely hyped and who people believed were going to win championships immediately. Were they the first super team in NBA history? Absolutely not. Were they the first team to be title favorites in the preseason, all based on their three-headed monster? No, that wasn't the case either. But what they were the first team to do was have three superstars, all in their late 20s, in the prime of their careers, all decide to join forces on the same organization at the same time. Up until that point, that was usually the general manager's job to get that done, like when the Boston Celtics did it in 2007. But again, the Miami superstars were talking behind the scenes and arranged to join forces all at the same time. Don't let the revisionist history get to you. This was a legitimate three-headed superstar monster, as LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh were all the top MVP vote getters the year prior out of the Eastern Conference. Of the 15 players who earned MVP votes in 2010, 11 of them were out of the Western Conference, which makes it very clear that the East was the weaker conference in that era. So moving forward, when I'm looking at each decade, the examples that we have to use has to be out of the weaker conference during that era. Let's start after free agency began, which was in the 1970s. In the summer of 1975, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar left the Milwaukee Bucks, but this time, instead of joining the Los Angeles Lakers, he would have signed with the Golden State Warriors. He would be joining the NBA superstar Rick Barry, who was one of the greatest scoring wings in NBA history. And additionally, joining Golden State as their third superstar option would be Nate "Tiny" Archibald. The three-headed monster of Kareem, Barry, and Archibald would have had the rest of the league shaking in their boots. Again, these guys were the top three MVP vote getters out of their conference in 1975. So as crazy as it sounds, this basically would have been the same kind of situation. How about the 1980s? Many people forget that early in the 80s, Magic Johnson was extremely upset with the Lakers situation, as he had little respect for the head coach and their decision making. In this scenario, Magic would leave in the summer of 1982, and he would be joining Moses Malone on the Houston Rockets, forming an incredible dynamic duo with the two best players in the Western Conference. But again, there needs to be a third star, so the third MVP vote getter joining the Rockets would have been the Iceman, George Gervin. What many people forget is that this whole thing is also addition by subtraction, because if Magic leaves the Lakers get worse. If George Gervin leaves the San Antonio Spurs get worse. That's what happened with LeBron, Wade, and Bosh in 2010, as Bosh leaving the Raptors made them irrelevant, and LeBron leaving Cleveland made them irrelevant, which immediately eliminated two of the biggest threats in that weaker conference. How about the 1990s? In the summer of 1996, Hakeem Olajuwon leaves the Houston Rockets, and he joins the San Antonio Spurs, teaming up with David Robinson, making an absolutely terrifying Twin Tower tandem. Additionally joining the Spurs as the third best MVP vote getter out of the Western Conference would be the reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Gary Payton. Just think about the defense of this three-headed monster, as the glove would be terrorizing the perimeter. while Hakeem Olajuwon and David Robinson are forming the best interior defense that the NBA has likely ever seen. Now for the 2000s. In the summer of 2003, Tracy McGrady leaves the Orlando Magic, and he's joining Allen Iverson on the Philadelphia 76ers. Additionally joining Philly is one of the greatest defensive players in NBA history, Ben Wallace. Not only do you have a tremendous amount of offense with this group, but you're absolutely locking down the paint defensively. Based purely on my concerns about their chemistry, this might be the least impressive team of any decade so far. But regardless, they'd still be terrifying to most of the NBA. Then we're skipping the 2010s because we obviously saw that happen with the Miami Heat. But now we're looking at the 2020s, and specifically, I'm looking at the summer of 2022, as Giannis Antetokounmpo leaves the Milwaukee Bucks to join Joel Embiid on the Philadelphia 76ers. And additionally joining them would be the superstar wing, Jason Tatum. That's right, Giannis, Embiid, and Tatum were all the top 3 MVP vote getters in the weaker conference that season, forming a three-headed monster that would not only immediately be a title contender, but they would be forming a dominant championship contender for probably the next 10 seasons straight. Obviously, this is all just crazy hypotheticals, but the reason I wanted to make this video is just to remind the basketball community of how crazy this move was when it originally went down. The 3 best players out of the conference all united on the same team at the same time. In any other decade in NBA history, if this happened, it would be jaw-dropping and sounds ridiculous even to envision it. But it happened. And just because Kevin Durant's decision was even more dramatic, doesn't mean we should completely forget the significance of LeBron's. So what do you guys think? Of the hypothetical teams I mentioned in this video, which one would have been the strongest? I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for watching as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.